if your collar is white, instead of blue, they'll that's how they're treating people.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
it's about justice and community. That's my message.
Yeah, I mean, our system is so unfairly rigged to those who don't have resources. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
And
no,
those who do have resources, I'm not gonna say they skate, but it's just not the same. Let's
yeah.
just say it's just not the same.
No, it's not the same. And if you, I mean, it alters some of our lives. Like there, like it, like people, and that's like the big thing. We want to end recidivism, and that starts with dealing with our youth, and then creating opportunities for people to work and earn a living. And if you don't do that for people, there will always be high rates of recidivism,
Mm.
and that's something that we all work on
What is
together.
recidivism?
When you get out of jail and then you end
Okay,
up committing,
repeat offender.
yeah, repeat offender.
Okay,
Yep.
okay.
Yes.
This might be a little silly, but I'll say it anyway.
Hmm.
I was watching The Dark Knight. If who doesn't love The Dark Knight, right? The Dark Knight Rises, and there's a scene where in the Dark Knight Rises, Bruce Wayne, he's losing a lot of his money. His companies are going out of his control, da, 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 and he goes to see Catwoman,
Hmm.
played by Anne Hathaway in that movie, and he goes to see her in her apartment. So, long story short, she's quote unquote poor. He's obviously very, very wealthy. He goes to see her in her apartment, and he walks in there and he says, "Oh, this is a nice place you have." And she said, "Yeah, it's not bad, but it's better than what you have right now because he just went bankrupt."
Yeah.
And he said, and I quote, "Actually, they're letting me keep the house." And she said, "Wow, even the rich don't go broke like the rest of us." And that just stuck with me,
Yeah.
like just that. And then also, I watched the Wolf of Wall Street interview, and he was talking about how DJ Vlad had asked him, did you go to prison, or did you go to country club prison? He said,
Yeah.
I went to country club prison.
Uh-huh.
So I want to be wealthy. I feel like I probably will be wealthy,
Hmm.
but I feel like I, as a middle class, lower middle class, whatever person, I don't even think I fully understand the differences in, like, just the difference in the world or the rules for the wealthy versus the
Mm.
non-wealthy. I
Yeah.
mean, what do you think about that?
I do think that the wealthy operate by a different set of rules. And I mean, it's mostly like one of the things that like my mind goes to is just like how you're able to buy a gold card to become a citizen. And that,
Literally.
but like poor immigrants, the whole other thing. But yeah, no, it's just two different. It's two different levels, and just the way that like you could tell how rich someone is uh when they get charged by how convoluted the charges sound. You know, a poor person will go to jail for murder. Rich person will go to get charged with the uncasual unaliving of it just sounds
Reckless
crazier.
endangerment or whatever.
They
Yeah.
just they just they just convolute the charges, and it's all a language trick. So it's just like, and some and it yeah, yeah, it's bad.
Yeah. So you're running for mayor in Schenectady or in upstate New York.
Mhm.
Why should we vote for you instead of your competitors?
Well, it's because where this is a rare opportunity to see how local government really works. It's a new era in Schenectady and upstate New York, and of course, New York State. And it's about keeping our money circulating in our communities. It's about exiting bad financial agreements that cost us and the city and the services that it provides year after year. It's about having accessible government, and it's about being transparent. And it's just about making City Hall about service again, and service to all of our neighborhoods equally, and building long-term solutions to long-term problems. And I don't think there are many other candidates that are offering that. And I do think, just in the sense of what we've done on social media, and like there are a lot of people who do whatever they do, but I do view it as historic that we've been able to reach so many people in this moment in upstate New York about public transit, about housing, about how we interact with our local governments and how decisions are made for us, not by us.
Mm. So they canceled the Metro North into Albany, I
Mhm.
think.
Yeah.
Why? And tell me about that.
Well, from my understanding, they canceled it because Amtrak realized how much money that they were going to lose. And
Mm,
I think this is important for someone who wants to understand, like public transit policy, and just transit policy on a larger level. Instead of giving the people of New York something that was affordable, we used it as a negotiating tool to get Amtrak to behave the way we wanted, and then to not really receive something as affordable. And I mean, it just, even in the moments where, like, the videos that are circulating online of Amtrak having trains that are like frozen on the inside. So we are genuinely being like robbed, and like the answer to so many of our problems across upstate New York are connecting our communities, is making it more affordable to travel New York State. That is going to create the boom in our downtowns that is real and lasting, and not the placebo effect that we've experienced, where large companies come in and for a couple years they work and then they cut down the workforce. And it's about travel, them not seeing travel as like an absolute necessity. Like, it should not take, at this day and age, it should not take 3 hours to get from upstate New York to New York City. That, like,
yeah,
time is
100%,
money.
100%.
Time is money, and like they want the rest of us diddling our fingers, 3 hours behind, and always playing catch up, when we need to start building out these things that are accessible for all of our people and connect us. So it's very sad that it was canceled, but they announced it to get us excited and to scare Amtrak into opening their services back up earlier, because Amtrak was going to shut down for 2 years.
Okay.
And the answer from the state was, oh, well, extend the MTA. But and it's like, extending the MTA, from what I've heard and from like listening to people, that's not a long term answer. Like, we upstate New York needs its own rail, and then it can connect to the MTA, but it's not the best long term thing for us to be underneath the MTA, because the MTA already has all of its problems.
Mm.
So we these things need to be locally owned, and I mean, there's so much money in public transit for people, so there's so many jobs.
So, as someone who is aspiring to be the future mayor in
Mm.
Schenectady or in upstate New York, do you believe in God?
Yes,
You do?
yes.
What role does God play in your life?
Um, sometimes I feel like I'm just channeling something beyond me.
Mm,
And most of the times I really never know what's going to work. I really never know what's going to connect with people, but I just speak from the heart, and I speak from all of my experiences at once. And you it's important. It it's important to know that you are not the center of the universe, and that there are things out of your control. And when you find yourself in that space, things become so much simpler. You're not worried about legacy, you're not worried about ego. You're just worried about service. And to say that, like, growing up, and it's like, this is just so this is an amazing quote that I heard somewhere. But like, growing up, I felt like this quote: I wanted to help everyone, and the fact that I get to help anyone is amazing.
mm.
So it's just like finding, just like, scaling yourself and understanding that, there are things that are, being, some things are out of your control.
Mm. What are some of the best restaurants in Schenectady or in upstate New York?
Marinos on State Street, Ming's,
Mm.
the Moon and River Cafe, and the Stockade. I'm gonna have to say Roy's in Albany. Shout out Kenneth's. Uh, if we're, I mean, really, Marinos. I gotta stress Marinos. I be in Marinos. Marinos is a Schenectady staple, and it's one of our most historic restaurants. I mean, best pizza. Go get a Sicilian cut. Um, and I shout out Buy Brewing in Cohoes. I don't know if you've ever been Buy Brewing. The chicken wings there, extra crispy, fire. the way that I was talking to Bob, the owner, and he was telling me about how they soak the potatoes in water, and then just like how they season. You know, like you wouldn't the way that they be seasoning French fries and cojones, you would never imagine.
It's different.
Yeah, it's
It's
different.
different.
Yeah.
That's funny. You just spoke about Bob.
Hmm.
Are there any, are there any people in the local Schenectady or upstate New York community that you want to shout out?
Oh, Corel, dear friend, my brother, fellow artist, helps me do a lot of the research for the campaign. Jenny Marie, the cool mom, Ozzy, uh, uh, Sam Patricus, that's my guy.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, oh, this is like yo, this is like being on the radio.
I know.
Like, oh,
I
who do
know.
you shout someone out? My mom, of course, my father, Richard Janess, Craig Patricus, who does Schenectady Art Night, which is an amazing thing that we do every month in Schenectady with all of our businesses. Um,
It's Schenectady Art Night. That's what you
yeah,
said.
Schenectady Art Night, and
Check that out.
yeah, shout out,
Yeah.
yeah, shout out,
Um, who runs Schenectady Art Night?
Craig Patricus.
Craig Patricus. So you're saying all the different business owners get together? What is that?
Yeah, so you just like you walk around like and there's art, like a bunch of art, and then you can go to the armory,
Hmm.
Schenectady's armory, and there's music there and refreshments, and then you just go to each business, and each business has music and a different artist on the wall,
Interesting.
the gallery spaces,
Interesting.
third Friday of each month.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. What are the most fun places in Schenectady or in upstate New York?
Well, throwback. I mean, back in the day, it was the 24-hour Walmart. Like we used to just go hang out in the Walmart and in the parking lot, and I used to pop the Welchers white grape bottle, and I used to pretend it was like an actual. But we
Like
used to
wine or
we used
something?
to pretend to pop bottles in
Yeah.
the 24-hour Walmart parking
Right.
lot. But modern day Marinos, Marinos is. I mean, if you're just like, I mean, I just what's I feel like so old. Like I go out and I do a nice night out as a Modelo
Hmm.
and some pasta.
Hmm.
So Marinos. I'll be bowling, Erie Boulevard, the bowling alley at Erie Boulevard. But most I just be walking for hours. This is like
Mm.
I just walk. So it's just like outside. Be out,
Excellent.
if you want to have fun, go outside, and you'll never know what you'll find.
Hmm.
You know.
Mm. Um, so you're running for mayor in Schenectady or in upstate New York. Why? What inspired you to do so?
Just like when I ran for city council, I naively ran on just ideas and policy and that sort of thing.
Hmm.
And in the time since 2023 and that initial run, I just learned so much more about Schenectady and